Yep. So
So, hey everybody, Mike Weaver here with Mike Benelli, and we created this creation series basically to help our coaches um, make things simple. Make things simple and show how easy it is to go and create your drill, create your plan, and easily share it. So, Benelli, how are you liking the new features
yeah,
that we
no, and what
released?
I was going to say, one of the things it does for me all the time when we have these conversations leading up and then into these creation series is it gives me all kinds of new life and the ability to go back in and start reminding myself, just like you would in a coaching education kind of format, like, oh, I got to go tell all my coaching contacts about this. And wow, these new, the new ability to make our plans easier and really just starts getting you, honestly, to be more creative in how you're designing your practices and your drills. So, doing the research and kind of leading up to these creation series for me is almost just, I hope, is just as beneficial as anybody that might be viewing it at any time.
Yeah, and we honestly love our feedback from everybody. I know when I did on Instagram, make sure everybody's uh, follows us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Our Instagram, I did Instagram live the other day, and it was the questions that we were getting from all our users were pretty. It was amazing how many people had written in. So today in the chat, hey, go and say hello. Go and ask any questions that you have. We love involvement by our coaches, and we want to grow this thing to be absolutely huge. So let's get into it. So we're talking about for episode 5, getting your cone pushers involved. Like, why does it so have to be so everything rides on the head coach? Like, obviously there are certain coaches, right? You got the paid coach, you got the volunteer coach, but why does that, even if he's a paid coach or whether it's a volunteer or whatever, why does that head coach have all the responsibilities of creating those practice plans?
Yeah, paid or not paid, it's the coach that cares, right? And the coach that is going to, one of the aims here is that if, and I say this all the time, if I'm going to go through the process of, and here in the U.S., it's very similar to Hockey Canada, and actually in Europe, it's probably even harder to get yourself certified to be a coach between background checks and 8-hour, 9-hour seminars, continuing education, all kinds of stuff that goes on. And then to go out there and just stand there and wait for a coach to kind of tell you to go push a couple of cones around is very disheartening. And I think so, the lead coach, the person that's leading the way, really, you got to get these coaches involved.
Yeah. No, for sure. I agree. And that's what this episode's going to be. It's making your life easier. So we're going to go into why aren't coaches involved. We're going to review the needed steps in order to make your coach's experience better. Every coach, from the head coach to the volunteer coaches, people want to help out with the team, and it's all about giving them a reason to help out. And then we're going to obviously go into our always real world application. We will create a practice plan and basically share it with you guys in order to use in tonight's practice.
Yeah.
So why aren't they? Why aren't they doing stuff on the ice? Why aren't they? Why are they just leaning against the boards? So that is one of the biggest things. And you were trying to find some pictures of some of your coaches that were leaning
Well,
against
yeah,
the
and
boards.
it got a little sticky, right? Because I got to work with these coaches all the time. So I really got in a lot of kind of, I was having a kind of a dilemma of saying, well, do I really want to call these guys out? And they're just standing there and they're having their cup of coffee and they're leaning against the boards, and one guy's got a big lipper in and he's chewing tobacco over the side of the boards,
Oh,
and
you can't
I'm
have
like,
that
I'm like,
amongst kids.
I'm like, guys, come on, just help me out here. Just look like you're being busy, right? So I think it's, again, this is not really to call out the coaches, but I will say this: if I had to go back and ask those guys and girls, why they're standing there, it's always going to come back to the fact that they just didn't have anything to do.
It's true. Sure. So a couple things that you and I discussed was number one, experience level, the type of coach.
Yeah, why aren't you like why aren't you doing this, right? Are you're just you don't know. You feel like you don't have the I know like even me when I go on the ice with another coach and they don't have a plan, I'm just like, well, I'm just going to take over this practice, buddy. Like you don't have a plan. Like I feel very confident in what I'm doing. So I'm not going to stand around. I won't be a cone pusher. So, I often tell a lot of the organizations that I work with, don't invite me to your practice if you don't have a plan, because I'm not going to be a cone pusher. I refuse to do it. So I'll jump in. So my experience level is probably going to give me what our second thing is here, the confidence to go in and run that. Right. But I think at the end of the day, why don't we as assistant coaches, you know, because and the head coach not giving assignments, it's probably experience level. And, just the fact that, just like you said, Mike, in previous episodes, what kind of coach are you? What's your leadership like as a head?
Yeah, well, for sure. And to be honest, I maybe the head coach doesn't have any experiencing managing people too, right? And so I think it's there's a lot that goes into it, and obviously on top of that, skill level.
Yeah, I mean the skill level part is, imagine you don't assign somebody a station or an assignment, or it's because you're worried about where they are with their skill. And what I'll say is, one of the things that I try to do is I almost try to hide those coaches when I have really good communicators and good people on my staff, but I know they can't do the skill. Like that's the kind of station I'll give them and say, hey, listen, you need to supervise this station, but I'm gonna bring one of my junior guys down here, and they're actually gonna show the skill. You're just going to manage the station. So we can use those type of people in there. Or, if you're worried about the skill level of the coach that you're signing, and they're worried about their own skill level. I mean, think about the people that just don't even volunteer sometimes because, like, oh, I didn't play hockey, and you played pro hockey, and you did this, and you coached here, and they don't feel like they have the skills to be able to contribute. And I think that it's very intimidating. So when you give them a plan, and you give them a purpose, you can eliminate the need for skill level because you can hide them in the drills and the stations that you need them to be in, that might not take skill. Might not have that
Mhm.
background and be able to do an inside or outside edge drill.
For sure, and then obviously at the end of the day, poor communication. You could have the best practice plan and not have great communication.
Yeah, we say that every day, right? Either you're a poor communicator in the way that you build your plan and it's way too complicated to even understand, or you're a poor communicator because, hey, listen, I'm the king out here, and I'm wing it coach, and you're just gonna follow my lead. And I always dread, like I cringe when I see, especially, and again, I'm more sensitive to this with guys and girls that actually get paid to coach, but the ones that come and they're just like you could see them drawing the drill up on the whiteboard or something on the rink, and they're erasing because like no, I want him here, no, this guy, like, and you can see them thinking the drill out in their head as they're putting it on there. And I'm sitting there looking around looking at these kids, and they're out, they're done, they're not even paying attention anymore. And it kills me because I just, how do you not come prepared, and especially when you have the tools like we have. I mean, it's if every coach has these tools, use them, and don't be afraid to get more people involved in using them.
And the last point there was some of them feel that they have no value added. They what do they have to go and provide?
Right. And I think that's sometimes, I talk often about even hiring your coaches. I mean, that goes down this list, right? So how can they add value? Well, see what kind of skill level they have, find out what their confidence level is, figure out what they're able to do and play. Are they good communicators? Should you put them in different roles that maybe, you're not the strongest in, and it's almost like, create value for them, give them a reason to be celebrated. And I think that's really important. And the only way to do that, though, is going by kind of the outlines that we work on here in this
Mhm.
creation series on creating their value. Because
Mhm.
I've never seen anybody in an application say, love to coach with you on this team. What's your goals and objectives? To move 16 cones around for an hour. That's my goal. That's what that I know I've accomplished a good practice if I've moved the cones around where they're supposed to be. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's just so uninspiring.
Well, Tim was saying good evening to us, so I just wanted to point that out
Oh, yeah.
in the chat here. And then Craig was saying, my experience in a small organization is you get a strong head coach and cone pushers. Well, I'm going to say I've been on a few webinars in the last couple of weeks, and one of the things that came out of it, and I kept on voicing my opinion that it's tough to find a good, strong head coach and cone pushers when it's parents. Majority of the parents volunteering. Obviously, when you get into AAA, especially in Ontario, it's your these AAA coaches are getting 60, 70,000. It's kind of crazy how much they're getting. But then you get the assistant coaches that are, basically cone pushers. Maybe obviously for the most part they're not getting paid unless AAA coaches go and share some of the wealth with the assistant coaches. But I'm going to say that for the most part, there's a lot of people in there are just going to be volunteers. So
Yeah, and I think Joseph's actually hitting on this right now, and this is exactly what I was going to say. Is that you don't when I say cone pushers, and we're just joking around, like it's not supposed to be a derogatory, a piece of what they're doing. They're valued members, but you have to make them valued members. But if they're really going to be cone pushers, and what we mean by that is if you're just going to have the guy out there or the girl out there standing there, then what's the point? So embrace the fact that you have those people. I just had a conversation with a coach that said he could have never done what he does in a station-based practice without those coaches that he had that had no skill, didn't have the experience, didn't have the background, weren't really, frankly, good communicators, but they knew their assignments. They knew they could see the lesson plan. Then, okay, at the 12-minute mark, we're doing this. Boom. The borders are getting moved. The nets are getting flipped. The cones are getting put in different places. The pucks are getting placed in the right place. Those people are invaluable. They need no skill, none. And I think that's what's the great part about having a plan and having a plan in place and a procedure in place to assign this to people. You're absolutely right. When it's so hard to find good people, but at the same time, you got to find anybody that could help you and then give them an assignment and let them grow within your program.
Well, Joseph, it looks like you're the unicorn coach. So I'm going to say you seem to find the right helpers out there.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go into. We had a little fun with this, right? With the coaches and kind of. It's just funny. When we came up with this, I was going to the rinks, and I was just like, man, what type of coach is he? And I'm like, look at him. Oh yes, within like 3 minutes, you know exactly what type of coach it is, right?
Yeah, you could read these guys
for
sure.
sure.
From way far away. You walk in, you hear the bellowing down the rink. You're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. So let's go into what's the wing it coach.
Yeah. So to me, I think we shared this too, right? And I actually somebody shared this to me from a lesson plan that they did last Monday. The wing it coach is it's two people, right? It's the guy or the girl who just gets on the ice and is making it up as they go along, or it's somebody who literally wrote like 3 sentences down on the back of the paper on the train and said, we're gonna kind of, this is our overview of some stuff we're going to work on. And then they throw it out there and say, hey, Mike, can you go run a stick handling drill in the corner? I'm like, yeah, sure. But where do you want me to start? Or how many kids you want me to have? Or how long do I have? Or, wing it coach kills me, by the way. I mean, almost worse than these other guys, but or these other coaches. But wing it coach is tough, especially coming from as a coach them disciple and this kind of a platform background.
Yeah, no, for sure. I see it all the time that they show up on the ice and in their mind they have a couple drills in there, but it's always like you said, the girl that goes and on the board like over here yeah, no, over here, right? So it's kind of funny, but
they do the whole drill and then it doesn't work on the board. Like they do the whole drill and they go through the pattern, right? And then they like, oh wait, all the kids are going to end up on this side of the rink, and then nobody fills in. And like to me, I'm laughing, going, "You're a paid coach." Like I'll give a lot of leeway to moms and dads that volunteer and help out at the rec level. I give no leeway to anybody that takes a paycheck from an organization and wings it. I give zero leeway to. There's unacceptable in my opinion. So yeah, those are killers.
And then you got the king coach.
Yeah, we see them all the time, right? He or she stands on the blue line. They bark all the orders. They probably have 25 kids lined up on the goal line. They're doing their circle drills. They're doing their inside edge drills. They're doing their down and back drills. They're doing their stick handling drills. But and you know what the crazy part is on the King coach? They probably have the most assistant coaches. There's probably like 4 or 5 assistants out there, and they're all just standing there looking at him like, I don't know, whatever he's doing next. I have no idea, but he's barking them out. So
Oh, it's funny. The other day, I was at rinks in Toronto, and this one coach was going and screaming, barking orders, like insane barking orders, and there's 3 assistant coach standing on the bench, and they're not doing anything. Right side, they stayed together the whole entire time, and then there was nobody else on the ice helping him. He was just barking orders, and it was just
yeah. And that guy guaranteed didn't have a plan up on the board. You know, he had no idea what he was doing. They had no idea what he was doing. What they're doing is they were talking about how they're going to take his job next year. They're collaborating. That's another thing about the King coach. You got to be careful because that's why you got to give these coaches assignments. Make them part of the make them part of the practice. Give them get them in your world. But yeah, no doubt
for sure. And then you got the mad scientist. I've seen a few of those guys drills.
Yeah, and I think that's the joke, right, from the Herb Brooks days with when you see Miracle. If you ever see them, I know the Canadians probably don't watch that too much, but but here in the U.S., Miracle is a pretty big movie, and so Herb Brooks is drawing the X's and O's and the lines, and you go here and you curl here and you zip through the middle and you fill the lane. Like that's like sometimes and then the problem is that 8U coach that watched that film, they're trying to run that practice the next day, and you're like, listen, buddy, like this is not going to work, and in the defense too, you got to be careful with coach them, right? Because you can become a pretty mad scientist when you start getting all those colors and different size lines and different X's and different O's. You got to be careful that you don't overdo it and you find yourself to be in a good, progressionary type environment. But the mad scientist is definitely, somebody. I used to be. My kids would say that I was a mad scientist, Joe, when I first started. When I first started coaching prep school hockey. Like it was my goal to make the most difficult drills. Like I really thought that was a badge of honor. Like there's no way these kids are going to get this drill. And that was like they'd see it. They know like I was sitting around the USA Hockey magazine all day, pulling drills out. So it is, you got to be careful. But I think, I don't even think the mad scientist is a bad coach. I think they're just a dangerous coach in how they teach.
Well, I'm going to say Andy Murray, when I was with LA, he was a really amazing coach. But what he used to do, so there was like 6 drills, and he would put all the sheets up on the board, and we had to remember every single drill. And it got to a point where you was like, oh my God, after the one drill ends, you're like going around, you're like, oh my God, what's the next one? You're like trying to talk to the other. Oh my God, it's crazy. And he would have, we're talking about before games, he would, underneath the door, you would hear it like 5 o'clock in the morning. You hear the underneath the doors when we're away games. And he would have the lineup, and then you would have the forecheck, back check. We're talking about font 3, but him writing it, font 3, every single line in even, he actually has 2 lines in a line, and then all of a sudden he'd have front and back. And it got to a point, he ended up actually having a second page halfway through the season. So it got to a point where it was just like overload it was a very good coach, and I really respected him, and I thought his the way he did things was awesome. But sometimes it's a little bit too much. Your head just explodes. So let's go to the organized, and I'm gonna say that most of the people on here, they're the coaches that we expect to be on here, right? And then you got the other ones, maybe not so much, that are not on this call, that should be on this call. But I'm going to say majority of these people at least want to go improve their knowledge of the game. But I'm going to say, let's get to the organized coach.
Yeah. So I agree with you, Mike. I think that if we did a survey of the coaches' kids that they coach, the King wouldn't come up. Right. No. Anybody that's on these calls or any, and we're on a lot of calls together, for coaching education and, continuing education type calls. And, the unfortunate thing is those coaches, the coaches that really need to be on those, like the ones that really need to hear those messages, you just usually don't have the time, don't take the time out of their day to do these things. But, the organized coach is that's to me the most fun. That's the one that knows his players, knows his assistants or her assistants, knows what the limitations are of the team, know what type of time of the season it is, know what they can endure as far as skill level. And I think, and the one that most likely has the best communication skills across the board, because they're preparing themselves going into every day and having a practice. Now, can you be ultra organized and become a mad scientist? Yes, no doubt about it. But I think that organized coach that can organize a practice plan, have a system, have a setup, I think those, to me, like, those are the ones that I often would say, like, if I popped into that person's practice, like, I'm literally jumping on the ice, and I'm able to run that practice for them.
Well, I just sent a poll out to everybody. What coach are they? So
yeah,
very interesting.
There's no kings on this call. I can guarantee that. I'm placing a bet. No kings on this call. I'm telling you, it can't be. It can't.
Well, be
or if
honest,
there are,
if you're
don't
a
admit it.
king.
If there are, don't admit it.
Oh yeah. Well, I know it's already 7 answers for organized. So okay. Well, and then the types of coaches, right? You got the old school versus the modern coach, right? And I'm gonna say majority of them. I would almost tie into the king. I would say. Would you say the old school, very stubborn?
Yeah, your old school coach is the one that says, "It's my way or the highway. I'm not communicating the kids. Don't tell me that. I don't want the parents talking to me. I don't want anybody interacting with me. You, as the assistant coach, you're just here to work for me. Just come out here, run what I want you to run. They're not really embracing anybody else's opinions.
No.
And at the same time, I think what happens with and old coaches could be young kids too. They just, because a lot of us just coach like we were coached. So unless we could get out of the mold of, like, because we all say it, right? We're like, oh my God, I'm never going to coach like that. Like that guy, I'll never coach like that guy. And then you end up lining the kids up on the goal line and skating them, right? And I think it's just because, and I think you always fall to the easiest denominator, and that's like 2-on-0 drills and 3-on-0 weaves down the ice, because you're not prepared, you're not organized. So what the modern coach is doing is preparing, organizing, communicating, embracing the fact that they can get other people involved, building a rapport with their players and their coaching staffs. And I think, and honestly, the modern coach, and I would love to know, we could talk, right? We could have a quick chat at the end of this, though. I guarantee the coaches on this call are the same ones that are like me, that plan their practices. If they're going to end at 7, their practice actually ends at 6:58, and they're cleaning up the pucks. And the Zamboni drivers and the rink, people that work, love those coaches. Like, they're not honking the horn. They're not opening the door in the middle of a drill. They're the ones that you want on the ice to keep things running on time, kids ending on a cheer, and the rest of the staff kind of embracing them.
No, for sure. So let's go. Hey, you've basically talked to the cone pushers, and you know what? They actually want in. They want to buy in. They want to get in there. So how do you go and get these cone pushers on the same page?
Yeah. So, number one, identify how many volunteers you have available, right? Because and then I think, well, maybe the first thing, Mike, that we didn't even discuss is, let's not call them cone pushers. Like, these are valued assistants now. Now we've evolved from the old school cone pusher guy, right, and girl, and say, hey, listen, just get out here. You're a body. We're supposed to have 3 coaches on the roster. And they're just there. They're just there to be on the roster, right? Yeah. So now we've evolved them. We want them to have a purpose. And then, so you want to identify, how many volunteers available. But then we go back to the beginning, find out what their skill level is, assess their knowledge and skill, find out what they're able to do, and then you want to create a plan and assign the coach to stations according to what you have available to you. Going back to what we said earlier, if I have a coach that can't teach proper shooting, or like velocity shooting, then maybe bring in an 18U kid to teach that, or bring in a pro, or bring in somebody else that can actually show that technique and that ability. Because the kids know what right? the players know what you know. They know how much you care, and that's great. But they know what you can and can't do. So I think bringing in and planning your drills and assigning the coaches that are going to be able to run those drills accordingly is really going to be important for the modern coach.
I'm going to say, Benelli, there's a couple of things. People going to utilize you a lot more. I've gone to Benelli for a couple of things, and we've talked about different situations and stuff in practice. And him and I have come up with some crazy awesome drills. So I'm going to tell you, Benelli, probably one of the best in the business for creating station-based practices. And if you want to throw a theme into the mix, you could completely do that. He's pretty amazing. So that, and also you have been kind of working with a few associations and helping. They don't have a director of development for coaches. So I think it's utilizing you as a tool. And to be honest, you're a very cheap you're offering right now compared to, and you're packed all the time. So it's great.
No, and thanks for that. And I think, it's funny that the people that reach out to me most are not even organizational directors, because they're the kings, right? It's the coaches underneath them that say, man, I wish we had, like, if you could come in here and help me spread the gospel and spread the word of what I want to do. I'm a modern coach, but I can't get my organization to come on board. Sure. I even talk about, right now I do a lot of work with the New York Rangers and their rookie league. And I have, and again, I don't want anybody to think that listens to this, that this is a derogatory term, but I have 8 or 9 cone pushers out there. They're just dads. I got 64 kids on the ice. So I have a bunch of dads that have played hockey. They all play adult league. They've all played, high school hockey. They all can read and they all can see a lesson plan. And Mike, I've shared those plans. Like the other day, our whole lesson plan. Now, again, I think the age group was a little too young for me, but I made a Lord of the Rings lesson plan. So we had like ringettes. So that was like Lord of the Ring drill. We had a My Little Pony drill where the kids had to, grab a towel off a kid, like a game of tag, but they had to grab the penny off a kid's breezers, but little things like that. And so, and the dads, you could see how really into it they were, because they weren't cone pushers anymore. They were active participants in the development of the kids. So we're evolving, right? So, and again, and I do this religiously. I share my plan in advance. I review it, and I assign. Not only do I assign the coaches that feel most comfortable in the drills and the stations, but I ask them what they feel most comfortable in. If they just want to do duck, duck, goose, I'm good with that. You do that. If you want to do that station, then do that station. I don't need you to do stick handling through the deviator station, because if you can't do it, I want you to be comfortable too. Yeah. And that comfort level leads to them having so much more confidence and fun out there. And frankly, and the guys and the people on this call will know, it's safer, right? I'm putting them in their element. I'm like, you stand in the corner, don't turn your heel, put your back to the boards, stand over there and run that drill, and we're going to be in good shape.
Well, Benelli sometimes shares his plan with Coach Dam, and we put it in the story. So you guys got to go check those out. It's pretty epic, some of his lesson plans, and he's so organized. You should see them. But then, obviously, probably one of the most important thing, you create this plan and you assign coaches. Now, sharing the plan in advance, so your coaches don't get it 5 minutes before they're coming. You send it for review, and basically, instead of them asking where the pylons are and everything, they're actually asking what questions, like maybe, hey, is it one-handed going around the pylon? So it gets a little bit more detailed.
Yeah, and I've gotten to the point now where my coaches, like, I come to the rink and are really good cone pushers, are the fun assistants that love being there. And maybe they got off work a little earlier than me, or they got to the rink. All the stuff's on the bench. You get there because they know, like, all the cones are on the bench, the pucks are out, the tires are out, the bumpers are out, like everything's there, ready to go. And it's like, it makes it so much, like, there's so much less stress, because, and anybody on this call that's done a station-based practice, or the hell with that, any practice, right? It's always like, oh my God, the practice is starting. Where's all the stuff? I can't find this. We can't find the cones. Where are these things? Where are the bumpers? And then the practice ends, and then you're sitting there. All the kids are getting dressed. They're all leaving the rink, and you're sitting there cleaning up the place. So, but if you assign people, what's the saying? Many hands make light work, or whatever. It's like just a lot of people helping, but nobody knows to help unless you share the plan in advance, review it, and assign it. And when you do that, I always find that when I assign something to somebody, I encourage them to take responsibility for it. And it's so much harder when you assign somebody something for them to get out of it, right? Because it's easy when you're just coming to the rink and you don't think really you're valued, and there's no plan. Like, you're like, if I miss it, I miss it. No big deal. And then who's that hurt? It doesn't hurt the king coach. It hurts the kids.
Well, all I gotta say is that king coach at the rink the other night. He was on his hands and knees. Okay, he was picking up the pucks as he was yelling at the kids of what to do. Pass the puck. They're doing power play. These kids are like friggin' like 10 years old, 11 years old, right? And he has them all set up with power plays and all this. Like, it's just,
it's hard to watch. But again, I think, based on our survey here, the anybody that watches this on tape delay, maybe, but and I'm hoping all these guys will send this to the king coach. Just, an anonymous email with the link.
Yeah, totally. You should totally, because right after this, everybody gets it for all the people that subscribe to the creation series. They automatically get a link. Guys, go and share it with all these king coaches and the wing it coaches, and yeah, that's hilarious. That's a very good.
Did I say that to you? Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that.
Oh yeah. Well, obviously, the one thing too is not showing up late to practice too. Showing up just a smidge early, that you're able to ask the coaches what's going on, and if they understand the drill, and make sure everybody's on the same page. So that would be obviously a last little minute thing. And how much easier is it, Benelli, right? Showing up there, and it's just so easy that everything's done. You showed up, all the pucks, and it's all about creating. It's just like a job. If an employee doesn't know what to do, well, then they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, and I feel so much at ease too, for me as a like in the leader of the group, that somebody has to lead, right? So I love the fact that I can use Coach Them as my vehicle to lead, because I can share the plan, and I'm not that stressed out about getting there early. Like, I used to freak out that, like, if I don't get there an hour before and go out and get all this stuff and get everything ready, and you don't know. Like, so like religiously by 10 a.m. on Monday mornings for our Monday night. Again, most of our cone pushers are volunteer dads and moms. Everybody gets a text message on Monday morning with the lesson plan. They all get assignments. You're doing station 1, station 2, and then I'll get a text back. Mike, I'm stuck at work tonight. Can't make it. No problem. We assign cone pusher number 2 into there. Like, everybody just moves in. And I think if you have a plan, and then if like, say I have 6 stations and one person doesn't show up, well, then that's my station. I go there and I run the station. But you know what? I didn't have to think about it. I knew what it was. It's all set up. It's just so much easier. And it's almost to the point where, like, I don't even understand how people do it the other way. Like, I can't even, the conceptual part of me says, how do you just show up and run 50, 60 kids? And you can't, right? And you don't last very long. So I think so that these are great, like, getting people on the same page, but I'm hoping this is common knowledge for this group.
No, for sure. So we have, I always love people going and suggesting things. We had somebody on the Instagram live. He ended up saying that, could we go and do a U15 station-based plan? So for sure. Well, here you go. Benelli's going to be taking over this. So as he's getting set up here, I'm gonna go and share this now, because we've been trying to figure out. We have 24,200 Instagram followers. I'm like, okay, where are all these people? Are they just all showing up and hanging out there and looking at drills and stealing them, or what? Like, so I'm gonna go and post it in here, and I would love to see how many people have a pro account at Coach Them.
So real quick, Mike, I'm just going to show you. So this is so in the US, we go 15U. I know Canada's U15. That's fine. So but basically, this is actually one of the plans that I use for my program. And, and again, this is probably like a mid-season plan, just a maintenance day, half ice. And what what I'll do is I'm going to share this with Mike, and he's going to be able to make these in a full season environment. But real quick, just because of the way it's written up here, this is just how I would have it in print mode, just so we could see it. But I build in my stations, and all these stations have the coaches assigned, as we all know. I try to put them in safe places where they're I try to even give them the little hints about maybe where to stand and where to be, and then we're able to take these plans, and they're able and everybody gets on the same page. And one of my big things that I really loved is the ability that Mike's developed here with the platform is to be able to not only add the information in here and the key points, but also the little icons, right? Because I think it does, like when the kids see this up on the board. So I print all my plans out and I tape them onto the onto the glass for practice. And honestly, the kids actually pick it up quicker. They're just saying, oh, cone. Yep, there's a player. Here's X. Here's Y, and they could go into it. Here's red. Here's blue. It makes it so much simpler. So it ties in with the drill itself. So in our setup here, I think I got to stop sharing for a second. I'll reshare the actual plan. So if I go in here, I go. This is my creation series. That if I would have done this, my sample plan that we built this morning, it's the exact same plan I just showed you that was printed out, and I'm able to share this now with Mike. Let's see if it works. My internet's been pretty bad, so we're gonna go with Mike Weaver. Is it full, Mike Weaver? Yeah.
No, it's yeah. There you go. There I am. I click on that. I'm allowed to edit too.
Yeah. Wow, why does it keeps seeing my internet's not? Here you go. Okay, so Coach Weaver or Mike Weaver? Coach Mike or Mike Weaver?
Mike Weaver.
All right, so allow to edit, share, and this is exactly what I do. I don't know. I don't know if you can see this, but I'll show you in my group. Like when I do my groups here, I do the exact same thing where I share this to, where's the group I had here? So if I go into, this is my Junior Rangers guys, and I go right in here and I share it. Now, what I don't do with that group is I don't allow them to edit it because I don't want them messing up my drills. So I just share it, and they have the plan, and then they can use that plan however they want it in the meantime.
Yeah. So
So the nice thing too for everybody, it's that when we're doing these calls too, this is really where that technology of being on the phone with the coaches and going back and forth and actually getting off the king concept, right? And being organized, but but embracing the quote unquote cone pushers into being a part of your practice. What I do is and Mike's the best at this, and I fear trying to do stuff live with Mike because he knows all the little ins and outs and all the new features that are on there. I'm still catching up with, but even my coaches, right? I'd much rather attempt to do it in the platform than to send me like a fax or a fax. We talked about that last time, right? Who has fax machines? But instead of who's sending me a photo or scan of the practice plan, I like the fact that they go in and they build it, and then I can fix it up like Mike does with mine drills. Like he'll go in and be like, "But Ellie, you can't have this line here, and this has to be here, and this has to be straight." So that's really where the collaboration comes in, where you can now work together with your coaching staff and start. And then if you're an organizational account, with the coolest thing is organizationally now, you can share your favorite drill that I'm doing with my 15U team to the Mike coach, and he can manipulate that drill to fit his needs, but still have the base of the drill, which I think is brilliant because it's not redrawing. It's not rewriting. I mean, the hardest part, right, for all of us, it's not just drawing the drill. It's laying out the drill description and the key points and putting all that stuff in. So to have that and just keep saving it, editing it, saving it, and editing it, it just makes it so much easier because you're not really changing anything but a couple of little words.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so Benelli just saved me this plan. So if I go and click on it, it's going to pull up his plan. I got a lot of drills, and I'm going to tell you, it takes a few minutes to load up. But what I would say too is I could go and add, once this loads up, I could go and add drills into my into my personal ones from somebody going and sharing me a practice plan. So it's pretty cool that we're able to work together on a whole entire practice plan. So he ended up going and Mike Benelli, he ended up this recent one. Okay, so it came right up. So this is his plan that he shared. So on this little icon here, you're able to go and add to personal. So I'm going to go and add to personal, go and add to personal.
Yeah, and honestly, this is the feature I use probably the most with the organizations I work with, because I'll help develop like a practice plan, and then they can take it and cater it to their needs. So say if I develop a practice plan that has, I don't know, 18 kids in it, like, oh, my organization has 30 kids in it, or my organization has, or the team I have on the ice only has 7 kids in it. And then the nice thing is too, which is great about these features, is and again, I might be a little different than a lot of people, but I'm like a real customization guy. Like, I want my team colors in the plan. Like, so if your team colors are black and gold, or blue and red, or green and orange, you can do all that. So your little X's, I know it seems like a small little thing, but I personally think it's a cool piece of the technology, that all my X's are gold and all my O's are navy. I think it just adds that little feature in there, going back to that organized coach and sharing it with other parents and kids. It just makes it that much cooler, I think.
Yeah, and what I'm doing here right now is typically, if Benelli would have shared them, it would probably be easier that he would share the individual drills with me.
Right.
But that's fine. The practice plan is fine. I'm gonna go. I have 2 tabs open. So are you able to see which one?
We're just seeing the
Do you
blank.
see
We're just
just
seeing the
drill name
blank.
up here, or do you see
We're just seeing the
Benelli
blank.
practice plan?
Yeah, Benelli practice plan.
Okay, so I have another window open. I wouldn't say cheat, but because right now my drills take forever to load, just because I have so many of them, and I just gonna take all these drills, and I'm just gonna copy and paste them in. So EBH puck drill, transition drill. So what I'm going to do is I'm just copying it. So I would use the selection tool. I'll show you. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should just show my whole page.
Yeah, but this is pretty cool, because now I'm learning. I didn't realize you can do this. So you have a different tab opened up.
I have a different tab open.
But it's still coach them. It's still in your account. You're able to take a drill you like. You're gonna select it all, just like we all do. And instead of flipping it, you're just gonna cut it, and you're gonna be able to transfer it, just like I'd be doing a Word document, and transferring it onto the other page of the open coach them.
Exactly. So I'm just going to go and take this. I'm going to use the selection tool. I'm going to go and bring it. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to bring it into, so this was in a half ice station base. I'm going to put it right into here. And then I'm just going to go and rotate it.
Yeah, this is so cool.
Yeah. So I ended up putting that one right here. I'm going to grab, I took a screenshot, race for station. So race for station. And it actually, you know what? I think at one point, Benelli, I think he might have shared it with race for station, because I have your, I don't know why it's station.
Oh, you have other ones.
Yeah, I think he might have shared it at one point. I think he might have shared all your.
So for my shorthand at EBH is my Edge Boss hockey drills. So any of the Edge Boss hockey equipment that I use, like, that's how I built the drills into there. So that's another thing too. Like, I'm able to, like, by naming the drills and knowing what I'm using, it gives my coaching staff, they know, oh yeah, you got to get all the tools out. You got to get all the toys out of the box.
All right, here's the second one. Copy.
Yeah, you need to share your screen, Mike. But and then we'll see.
Oh, it came off.
It popped off. That's all. Yeah, it's all good.
Entire screen.
Less of you and more of your drills. Come on.
I know. All right, so that's the second one. I'm going to put it over here.
I don't think it came up still.
It didn't.
No, we're only seeing you.
Because I'm doing some magical things right now.
I'm sure it's a good looking drill.
Oh, it says screen share failed. Publishing has failed. Okay, so I think I might have to just do the Chrome. Do you know what? I'll do Chrome window. So let's just do this one. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it's that one.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so just wait. I'm going to drop in my other one that I've been doing. So you see that?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so and then the next one I'm going to go in. It's the PBH agility.
Yeah, one of the reasons we were talking about this too was that, a lot of us sometimes, and then this happens to me all the time, that I think, I like say on Friday night practices, I think I have half ice, but then I get told on Friday morning, oh, by the way, the team you share the ice with, they're bolting off to Buffalo, and you're going to have full ice now. You're not sharing the ice tonight. So the cool thing is I could go in, I take my drills, and then I can make them into a bigger environment, so that I'm not redrawing the whole night. I just have to take the small drills I have, and instead of 4 station-based drills, I'm now going into 4 larger stations. But again, the descriptions don't
and
change.
what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this station. You know what? We don't want it in the neutral zone, so I'm going to use the stretch feature. And you know what? I want it the full zone now. So with our new 2.0, it's amazing that we're able to go and create a full zone of this. Same thing with this. I want to do that. I'm going to go and select it. I wanted to go and stretch it, make it there, and we want to make it inside the blue line. And we're going to take that drill that I just copied. I'm going to paste it over here, and we're going to put that in the neutral zone. So the flexibility is obviously from there. You just got to copy and paste all the different drill stations and everything. But this is basically our practice plan, and I'm able to go and save it, put the amount of minutes. Maybe we're doing 10 minutes each, so we would do 30 minutes, and then you would save it. So the flexibility of CoachStem is pretty cool, and also we're coming up with like crazy new features. Just wait, the bump pass that used to be, I don't know if you guys saw that yet. So if you had a defenseman and you had a forward, and the forward was red, in the past you had to go like this. You had to go draw it this way, and then I would do the red and I would draw it this way. Like it got to a point where like we're trying to be like really nice and make it nice and slick, that we used to go like this. And now the days of this are over because we have the start point now, which is pretty cool. So we're able to go and have the start point as being this and the end point as being that. So we're really into really making things so much easier for you guys, being able to rotate it, a little stickiness, hitting the shift, or just using control, and it doesn't stick on 45-degree angles. It's really cool, the stuff that we have, and trust me, I can't wait for you guys to see the features coming up here. So
yeah, so Mike, show that cut and paste feature again, where how you cut, like how you took the whole drill and cut it and then pasted it.
Yeah, so you're able to go and resize it once you got it all set up. But here, let's go and just.
But maybe show what I do wrong all the time, right? Why do I always mess it up where I only take pieces of it?
So if I go here and I copy it and then I go to paste, what it does is it it throws it in there, and sometimes you don't know exactly what it is. And I think we're going to be fixing that also. But it just say you accidentally click off it, and you're like, oh no. Well, you use the undo button. So click on this, and then when you paste it, make sure you know where that is, and then you're like, okay, that's the part. So yeah, that is something that we are going to be looking at there soon.
Yeah, but that's really cool. So I think, and that works the same way when you said, like, you're in that other tab, you're pulling it from a whole nother tab. It's not even in this plan. You're pulling it
Yeah.
from another tab. It's the same idea. The minute you cut it, you could paste it back into Coach Them Anywhere.
Yeah, and the one thing that's really cool about this is that now you don't have to go back to a practice plan, and you, if you wanted to, you could grab one individual one, but it allows you to go to create all your drills in stations. So you create them in stations using the smaller rinks. We have a blue line in one. So you could also do it on here that so yeah, so there's different ways of doing it, but I personally would go and say go and create it in a station based section
Right.
drill, and then you're able to copy and paste them on. Or if you wanted to, if you're kind of a little hard on time, you could go and do what Benelli did, is just go and add the different stations to the practice plan, and you could put notes within the plan and say this is the station base from drill 1 to 8. So there's different ways of
Yeah,
doing
and
it.
I actually use this feature a lot in a different way too. Where if I'm doing an organizational like night of skills, like I'll do my first plan on top will be the full rink with all the stations like pasted in, and then resized, but then underneath in the plan will be each individual station broken out with all the descriptions and the notes and the key points, because what that does is it gets you the snapshot on top of even the layout, right? A coach looks at it and goes, okay, like, especially when you have the kids helping out, they just know, okay, here's station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's where the cones are. Here's everything gets out there. And then the
Mhm.
individual stations that I build underneath the plan, now a coach could just take. So what I do, which is probably a little crazy, but I print off each paper. I just print off each drill, and then I'll tape this individual drill at that station. So the coach just looks over and they always remember what that drill is, and
Yeah.
the key points are in the drill. So when
Mhm.
I work with, like, last year we did ice hockey in Harlem, and we had a lot of new coaches, and the one manager was unbelievable. She blew it up like on legal size. So it was this big, huge drills all over the
Wow.
rink. And it was just, and I loved, who was it that gave the Joseph, right, with the plastic paper protector. It's perfect. You just put it in there, snap it on the glass. It sticks there for the practice. I usually tuck mine into like where the where the glass is, where the padding is in the glass, and I'll stick it in
Yeah.
there because I always forget tape. But then it's there, and then the kids, I love when my kids go over and they know the new drill's coming up, and they
Yeah.
get over there and they're all looking and looking to see what the drill is, because they want to know what they're doing, and I love
Well,
that.
it's
That's my
exciting.
favorite
It's
part.
exciting for them. And one thing, go to this, guys, all the pro users, go to this marketplace. Guys, we have over 600, well, we're very close to 600 drills, and a lot of them now have videos. So, but the one thing that's, so Benelli did this, St. Louis Night of Skills. We're going to have to put on there that you made this, because it's pretty cool. So this is what he does. It's pretty cool that he goes and lays everything out like this. But all these ones come with a video, so you could click on this. This one I just absolutely love. It's a St. Louis Skill of Nights. I don't think he really had to do too much here, but it's Stanley Cup playoffs. You got LeCavier coming back. He does a backhand pass over 2 sticks to St. Louis in the back. Like, you know what? I could even score that. Well, probably not, but
Yeah, just be there. Just be at the net.
look at that. Oh my God, look at that. But it's cool that he ended up doing that, and it's fun for the kids. The kids must have absolutely loved this drill.
Well, the kids that were on the ice when we built. So when I built this, we had Marty St. Louis on the ice doing the Marty St. Louis Night of Skill. So it was great. But
Yeah.
he's like, I don't even know how he did that. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to see that those. But again, it wasn't really so much to replicate what Marty's skill level was. It was for the kids to understand and repeat the creativity of that. Because again, I go back and forth all the time between block drills and creativity, and can you teach hockey IQ? Can you and it's just sometimes you just have to give the kids the answers a little bit, and then let them pull back and create, and then let them figure out where their threshold is for the drill. But sometimes kids just need to see it,
Yeah.
and you could guide them into those areas, and then hopefully you'll just see them do that in a game situation
Well,
on
I'm
their own.
going to tell you, Mike Benelli is honestly, guys, he's a rock star. Um, on for some reason we're there, there's an issue with the page there for you to book him when we released the new pages. So we're working on that. But for the 10% discount, so there's two people here. Well, there's only 6 people ended up going and saying it. Whether you had a pro account on Coach Them or not,
All right, yeah.
and yeah, so we would love to get the guys that don't have a pro account go and use a 10% discount. C Series 10, and it's the Creation Series 10, and it's all caps. Um, uh, I know we had an issue with the series group. All these drills are shared with it, so if you do need that link again, let us know and we'll go and reshare it. And then book Benelli, follow him on Instagram at Mike Benelli, and yeah,
Yeah, and I
is
follow
there
Coach
a
Sam, and I think it's it's one of those things too where and by the way, and I'll anonymously send an invitation to Coach Sam if you want, to any of your coaches that you feel are kind of like blockheads. Just let me know, and I'll say, hey, I thought you might like this Coach Them feature. No charge for that.
Bo, how do you know if you're a pro or not? Well, it's whether you have a Coach Them Pro subscription or not. So if you are only able to see, so just so you know, if you're a free account, you're only able to see, I think we have 5 or 10 drills, and you're only able to create 5 drills. So with what it does is it opens up to 600 drills, and they're pretty. I've been told that they're pretty legit drills. I use them all the time for my practices. So all right, Bo, you're pro, awesome. I can't see your shared page. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. And
Yeah,
share
we
away.
fixed that. We
Yes.
fixed that. So we were good. We good. You had it going. So it was perfect. And actually, seeing, I think that's to me, that like, this is just worth it doing this tonight. Learning how to take that off of one page, throwing in another, not having to go back and reinvent the drills, I think is a game changer for me. And the ability now to go in and go into, take as many drills as you want from your collaboration with your other coaches in your organization. And the cool thing is get them in there and tell them, hey, just get an account and build drills and share them with me. And I think that's a great way to get your cone pushers to being active with your teams for sure.
Weaver, who do you coach in Toronto? Do you do guest coaching? Yeah, well, I have my hockey school. I've been doing it all week. It's called Defense First. I teach the thinking part of the game. And currently, I'm not with a team. I ended up getting out of the whole youth hockey circuit. And so right now I'm basically doing private lessons in the morning. And to be honest, a lot of this takes a lot of my time with Coach Dem, working with our developers and coming up with cool features to help you guys out. So so I'm kind of back and forth. My main rink is Scotiabank Pond. So yeah, at some point we should have a conversation on youth hockey in Toronto. It's kind of an animal on its own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, it's not Toronto. And I think, but again, this is the folks that are on this call and frankly, most people that use Coach Them that I found are the solutions to the problems we're having at youth hockey. Because one of the biggest pieces is inspiring, leading, teaching, and then really, transferring your knowledge to these kids and giving them an opportunity. And more than anything else that I think is when you do a lesson plan and you go in and you look at this marketplace and you quote unquote steal drills from Mike Weaver and everyone else in the platform, you're contributing to the growth of hockey and their development. And so, I just think that's a noble cause. And I think we need it. We need more people like this and more people like you. And this platform, it just makes it easier for us to do that. It really does. And it just gives us an opportunity to, reach those kids that we need to reach in a more efficient way. And then, engage other people and convert a lot of cone pushers. We're hoping
yeah,
tonight.
no, we've already so a couple of features we already have. It's already released the 45-degree angle. It kind of there's stickiness at the different 45-degree angles, and then if you hit the shift, it does the jumping to all the 45-degree angles, and if you hit control, it removes that. But I think next week you're going to have a feature that is going to be wow. It's going to knock your side. I showed you, Benelli, right?
I've lost track the last 3 weeks. I don't know. There's a
Well,
lot. There's a lot
the
in
one
there.
today,
Yeah, that's
that's going
cool.
to help you go and position
That's
your
cool.
icons in a split second. So
That's cool.
yeah, and then Benelli, is that right? $100 an hour, That's pretty crazy. How somebody could go and hire you, and they could get probably what? How many lesson plans do you think you
Well,
could
again,
throw out
it's not
in
even
an
the
hour?
lesson plans. What I try to do, and I try, and honestly, I'll only mention it on this call and not to anybody else, but I usually go over that, and it never turns out, but it's fun. Like I said, I really try to be interactive, and I try to answer a lot of questions and give a lot of pieces to coaches that they can then instantly use, like that day, that night, that
Right.
afternoon.
Mhm.
And and a lot of it's not rocket sciences. It just really comes down to the fact that, I've been doing this for almost 40 years and building rinks all over the country and programming all over the world, actually. And I've made every single mistake you could possibly make in building a hockey program. At some point, I screwed something up, and what I really developed Mike Benelli Hockey Solutions to do was take all of that mistakes and wash them away from your organization and give you. And again, my motto is building the best program the first time and not reinventing the wheel all the time. And one of the ways to start at every organization I work with is to buy a coaching platform, coach them, and use it in your organization and get all your coaches on the same page and lead as a director level out to the organization. And just that little tweak is going to give you hours and hours and hours back to development of your kids.
And just to let you know, we don't just Coach Them doesn't just sell it to the association and say, see you later. You're able to see every login by your coach and every drill created and every plan created. So that is one of the biggest things that you gotta hold your coaches accountable. They are in charge of your youth, and their main job is they're hired to go and improve them. So if they are not taking the time to go and organize their practice plans, I think it's crazy. Yeah. So, anyways, all right, Mark, you let me know. Go the little blue uh, circle there, intercom. Go and get in touch with us. I will go and talk to your association. All right, guys.
Yeah, that was great,
Thank you
Mike.
so
Thank you.
much. Yeah, you had a good time, Benelli?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm going to start cutting and pasting tonight, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll get those everything shared with you guys tonight.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, guys.